Hey guys, this is Blair with the Taylor team. I've got Wendy sitting here. Today we're going to go over how we win our buyer contracts in our current market. And as you guys know, things have been shifting, changing a little bit. Our interest rates have been on the rise. And so some things are similar and some things are a little different. So Wendy, tell me, when you're writing contracts in general, how do you get your terms accepted?
Well, I think it's all about the terms, and we're now with the shift, we're not seeing as much in the pricing that's helpful.
Right.
So with the terms, we do like non-refundable deposits still. We're seeing anywhere from like 2 to 10 on that.
Okay.
Still. We're doing, say, like, you can either waive repairs, or we always get the house inspected for the buyer, of course. But we can do minor repairs, no minor repairs requested, that kind of thing.
So setting expectations on minor repairs.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned before too, appraisal gap coverage. So and we can go into detail a little bit later. And so as far as closing timeframes, they're still pretty similar?
I'm having some clients that we've got all the paperwork done up front. So we have put, like we did a 3-week. It may end up with the appraisal going a little bit longer, but we're ready. Okay. And the settler was ready, so we were good there.
Seems like lenders are staying on top of it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's part of why I ask them if there's someone in the house, or if we can get in earlier, if the seller needs a quicker close.
Right. And so, are we still seeing over asking price offers, or what are we seeing?
I think it's leveling out. We're coming down to list. I did one even a little bit under. 5
under last week. Got
5 under last week got accepted.
Did you still put appraisal gap coverage in that?
I did.
Okay, so that
bring
helps.
It up to bring it up to that level. So we definitely did. Maybe in some of them a little bit more micro markets around here, but as a whole, I think it'll level out and we can see where the price go.
Which will help. Just helps us get our buyer contracts accepted too. Yeah. I mean, when you're competing against 10 people, it's hard. So honestly, the shift, I think, has leveled things and it's made it a little bit easier for our buyers.
Kind of nice.
And for buyers agents, yeah. So can you break down in detail what the non-refundable deposit is?
So your non-refundable, when someone goes in and puts that down, it shows the seller that you're serious and that you are really looking at this, that you want it. You put down a certain amount, and that goes towards your purchase price. So it's sort of akin to the earnest money, but in how it's different, we're willing to lose it if we come out of contract. Yeah, you wouldn't get it back if you came out of contract. Yeah.
So you said earlier 2 to 10,000 is kind of the average, and then beyond that, the biggest difference in that and earnest money is you don't get it back. So when you put it down, it shows that seller how serious you are about closing.
But it is a credit, and so I had to educate a buyer last week that was just, you just have to talk with them, and he thought that he was putting down money just to put an offer in.
Right. No, you're not. Well, you also want to be serious about the house too. You don't want to lose 2 or 3. You need to make sure you make it through contract.
Yeah.
So can you break down in detail the other part of what you're talking about was the appraisal gap coverage?
So appraisal gap just means, let's just say that because the market is so kind of a little bit shifty right now, and we're seeing some level, but we're not knowing exactly what it's going to do. Maybe the list price is a little higher. Maybe the comps are just a little bit off a little bit. So what we want to do is we still say, well, the buyer would say, we still want that house though. So we come in at a price, but when the appraiser comes in, if they don't have it, comped where we would have it. So if it doesn't appraise just at that, we've got some leverage there to say, yeah, we'll cover that up to this amount, so that we're not having to completely renegotiate.
And I think deals, because it sets expectations that if it doesn't appraise by this much, we'll still do the deal. And then you're working on a smaller gap if you do have to negotiate out.
And it's a lot of just, like you said, setting expectations for everybody involved in the transaction. The seller's agent, but also my buyers. So
it also shows the buyer has a little extra cash just to make sure that deal happens, right? And gets the seller sets their expectations too. So when submitting an offer, what questions should you ask to show how serious your buyer is?
So I talked to an agent and I kind of vet the whole situation. I want to know what situation the homeowner's in, the seller. I want to know if they're ready to move, if they're out, if they, just wanted to list the house, but they need to be there for 2 more months, what's going on there, timelines. I want to know what's going on with disclosure. If there's anything that we need to know about the house, the seller property disclosure and all that.
So you're vetting the seller first. Second of all, how do you get that?
Then I'm showing
agent?
them.
Yeah.
So then I'm showing them that my buyer. So if I write an offer, I always submit pre-qual, proof of funds. We go ahead and sign that seller property disclosure that we've seen it and we're, willing to move forward in this manner or that manner, depending upon the repairs that we're sort of estimating, thinking before the inspector goes in. But
got it. And so kind of lastly is, and I hear this a lot, but like, how important is this local pre-approval letter versus an out-of-state pre-approval letter?
I think that when someone sees that, it's a lot better to have a local. We know them, number one. We know a lot of them, and so we can call them even on a Saturday and say, hey, can you get me this pre-qual right now? Or can you, up their pre-qual? Maybe they're looking at something and they want it to be.
They gotta go 20 higher.
Yeah.
And you've got there's tons of local banks, but you get Arvez, Signature Bank, you've got Bank of Fayetteville. When I see those coming in
Horizon, all that, you got it.
On my side, I know, I feel like they've been vetted well, and I feel like we can get a hold of them. Or
if we have a lender that we know that's even in a local market.
Helps us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've been calling and talking to them. Well, guys, hopefully we've answered your questions around how to win buyer contracts and just kind of giving you a little insight on market kind of shifts and changes. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to give us a call at the number below or shoot us an email. And I hope you guys have a great week.